A great blue heron stands at the edge of a shallow pond, one leg raised slightly, neck folded into a tight S shape, completely motionless. 20 minutes pass, then 40. To anyone watching, it looks less like a hunting animal and more like a statue someone forgot to move. Then, without any visible wind-up, its head shoots forward into the water and comes back up with a fish already trapped in its beak. The entire strike is over before most people watching would even register that it started. Herons hunt using a method built almost entirely around patience, and understanding why requires understanding what's actually happening during all that stillness. A heron isn't simply waiting around. It's actively watching, using binocular vision precise enough to judge the exact position of a fish beneath the surface, accounting for the way light bends when it passes from air into water, a visual correction most predators never need to make. Every second of that stillness is calculation, not idleness. The reason for the stillness itself comes down to how fish and most aquatic prey detect danger. Movement is the primary signal that triggers a flight response in nearly every prey species living in shallow water. A heron that waited around actively searching would trigger that response constantly, sending every nearby fish scattering before a strike ever became possible. By remaining absolutely motionless, sometimes for over an hour at a stretch, the heron effectively disappears from the water's threat detection system entirely, becoming just another fixed shape at the water's edge, no more alarming than a reed or a rock. Here's the part that explains how the strike itself becomes possible after all that stillness, and it comes down to something most people never notice about a heron's neck. That distinctive folded S-shaped posture isn't just for show. A heron's neck contains a specially modified vertebra, roughly the sixth in the sequence, that creates a natural kink, allowing the neck to compress and store energy the same way a coiled spring does. When the strike triggers, the neck doesn't extend using muscle power alone. It releases, snapping forward with a speed that dramatically outpaces what the bird's muscles could generate through normal movement. Researchers studying the mechanics of this strike have compared it directly to a spring-loaded mechanism, energy stored during the stillness, released in a single explosive motion precise enough to catch a fish that has almost no reaction time to escape. That precision matters more than raw speed alone, because a fish underwater isn't actually where it visually appears to be. Light refracts as it crosses from air to water, bending in a way that shifts the apparent position of anything submerged. A heron striking based on the fish's visual position alone would miss almost every single time. Instead, herons appear to compensate for this refraction automatically, adjusting the angle and depth of the strike to account for where the fish actually is, rather than where it looks like it is. A correction that some human spearfishers have to consciously learn and practice, and that a heron seems to perform instinctively on every attempt. Once the strike connects, most of what a heron catches gets swallowed whole, sometimes including fish, frogs, and even small mammals or birds, depending on the species and what's available. There's no extended struggle or repositioning. The same speed and precision that made the strike successful in the first place also makes the kill itself nearly instantaneous. What makes this hunting strategy remarkable isn't any single element on its own. Patience alone doesn't catch fish, and speed alone doesn't either. It's the combination, extended stillness that removes the bird as a visible threat, paired with a stored energy strike mechanism capable of closing the gap and correcting for underwater refraction in a fraction of a second. Layered together into a single hunting method that looks, from the outside, like nothing is happening at all, right up until it's already over. So the next time you walk past a pond and see a heron standing motionless at the water's edge, resist the urge to assume it's resting. It's almost certainly mid-hunt, running a calculation you can't see, waiting for the exact right moment to release a strike it's already fully prepared to make. Would you rather have a predator's raw speed or the discipline to stay completely still for an hour, waiting for one perfect opportunity? Tell me which one in the comments, and subscribe to NatureCrest for more deep dives into the animal kingdom's most patient and most precise hunters.